back to the beard for a second.
Yeah. Let's take it there.
So at nighttime, do your beard ever get caught on your arms, rolled around? You know, do you get tangled in it sometimes?
Episode 4. Myself, Devin Grogans. We got Neil, Big Body Blasingame. And then we are here today with local legend, the Viking himself, Jerry Braswell. Glad you could make it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, my man. Thank you.
Yeah. So just wanted to start off. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, you got a lot of different irons in the fire. So who you are, what you got going on, and what you're currently up to.
That's a hard question. I've never been good at explaining who I am or what I do, but I'm a young entrepreneur. You know, ever since I was young, I enjoyed being my own boss. So that turned me into a business owner, and I've always been not really a one-man army, but I enjoy things that I can control a lot of, and that kind of led me to bodybuilding, because anybody that's done the game understands that you're kind of in control of your success in a general sense of being. Like, if you don't put the work in, you don't get the results. But when you're on a team, like football or anything, you can get drugged back by someone that's not as strong.
No doubt.
I've never been like a team sport player, but I've raced cars, I've raced crotch rockets, I've raced, dragsters. I've done anything that has a motor, but I was always the main operator. So
yeah, definitely. I like that. So you are 32, 33? 31?
I'm 33 years old. Yep. 33 years old.
All right. 33 years old. You run Kamikaze Sports Nutrition in Salem, Oregon. One of the largest nutrition shops, both locally, and I'd say you compete with that of GNC when it comes to product amounts, in my opinion, and obviously carry much better product.
Thank you.
You have Beard Milk. So tell us a little bit about that.
So, yeah, Kamikaze is just a sports nutrition store that I started up because, I was doing personal training and I loved it, but the one-on-one thing wasn't big for me right at that point in time in my life. So I wanted to find something else that I can generate income from. And that's when I went into the nutrition side of the industry and found out that there was better ways of doing it. The customer service just didn't seem like it was there. The honesty about the products weren't there. And so I started doing my own thing, and that's where Kamikaze kind of developed. Beard Milk came about 2 years ago. I've been making my own beard oils ever since I started growing my beard completely out. So that's about 6 years now. Mm-hmm. Because I couldn't find a good beard oil. Everything I've tried, like, dried my skin out, or was too strong a scent, or it just made my beard look greasy and oily, and who wants that? So I developed my own beard oil. And about 2 years ago, I decided, when I started pursuing more professional career in the bodybuilding and being one of the only IFBB pros with the 3-foot long beard, I was like, why don't I try to see where I can jump in and see what I can do? Because no one ever said I could even turn pro with a beard.
Right. And I apologize. Jerry is an IFBB Pro in classic physique. I apologize. I left that out. So
it's all good. Yeah.
Business owner, young entrepreneur, IFBB Pro, and then also a new dad, right?
Yes, we just had my wife and I. We just had our first son. It was about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, nice. Super excited. 2020 was 2019 was dedicated mostly to having a baby, or getting pregnant, having a baby. 2020 was more of just having the baby and starting a family. We were very blessed that we were actually able to move it the way I designed it and wanted it to be. And he came healthy. He's a strong little boy. His name's Highland, and he's already got the nickname of the little Viking because the whole beard. Yes, he wasn't born with a beard yet, but he'll have one sooner or later. Number one question: did he have hair on his chin? No. He doesn't have hair on his head.
Not yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So let's talk bodybuilding a little bit. You said you were in the racing scene. I remember meeting you a long time ago, before you were big, Jerry, when you were street racing, drifting, motorcycles. How did that transition into bodybuilding, and then even more so the want to pursue it even further and try and go professionally with it?
Both of you may be able to relate, but honestly, it was getting out of the legal system. Like I was in the car scene. I was always getting in trouble, nonstop. Like I, yeah, I owed so much money to the city because I was getting pulled over, and I was just being stupid. I was a young kid, and the crowd that I was in wasn't like terrible, but at the same time, it wasn't influencing me to be the best. And when I started getting into the bodybuilding industry, I realized what I can do if I plan long term. And then that just kind of developed one thing and another. I started bodybuilding just solely because my wife and I went through a breakup, and I thought in order to attract another female, I had to have bigger arms and bigger chest. So I went every day, and every day was chest and arm day, and that's how I started. And it just slowly developed. I noticed it helped me like physically and emotionally to adapt to a lot of life stress, and then it just developed in more and more and more. And yeah, we can say it got out of hand. So it was always a dream to go pro. Did I think I was going to make it? No, but I just put my head down and I keep grinding. And my cards just fell perfectly one year, and I was able to achieve that pro status. And now, once you turn pro, you're back to the bottom, and now you got to work your way back up.
So tell us a little bit about how many shows have you done previously before you got your pro card?
Yeah, so I did a show. My very, very first show was, I believe I was 21, and it was Oregon State in Portland. And I was not show status. Like I was basically a bikini girl up on stage. Like my muscle maturity wasn't there. I was working out for about a year, and someone's like, "Man, you need to do a show." So I decided to do a show, and that was a big step in general for myself because I was never the type of person to put myself on display. So getting on stage in a banana hammock was one of the things that I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do. I survived. And then I just kind of went into hiding for a while, grew and grew. So from that point, I did Seven Feathers. How many? I did that 2 years in a row, and then United Champions 2 years in a row. And then I did USA's in 2017. 2016, I did both the shows, Seven Feathers and United Champions. And then 2018, I did, 2017, I did Seven Feathers and United Champions. And then I went to USA's in Florida. No, was it Florida? No, Miami.
Miami.
And tried to get my pro card. I ended up placing third. And that was one placing shy of turning pro. Just decided, you know what, I just need to add more size. If I turn pro, I really want to turn pro. And well, I end up deciding doing USA's in Las Vegas the next year in 2018. So I didn't do any shows, and then I hit the stage in 2018. That's when I turned pro. So total shows before I turned pro was 6, I think, 4, 5, 6.
Nice. Yeah. How has so you went from bodybuilding. At what point did you decide you wanted to transition to classic physique? And then what, if anything, changed in terms of training regimen or specifically diet? What did that look like when you decided to make that transition?
That would have been 2008, 2017 is when I decided to go into classic. It was very difficult for me because I am taller. I'm 6'1.5". So my weight cutoff for the NPC at that time, I believe, was 225. So it was real difficult for me to get down to that weight, but I was like, I can achieve it and get it done. So I end up in 2017, I end up entering bodybuilding and classic, and to see how the judges liked me in both divisions. And they really like my physique in classic. I think a lot of it has to do with my height. We're going to be honest. For me to compete, at an IFBB Pro level in bodybuilding at 6'1", I'm gonna have to be on stage no minimum of like 280, 290.
Right.
Like it just, unless you just have that round 3D muscle that I have it, but I don't have it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just don't have that much mass. Us taller guys, like Neil understands, it takes a lot of tissue to fill out these limbs, and I tend to fall better in a classic physique division than I do bodybuilding because my waist is smaller because I'm taller. Everything just kind of flows a little bit better because I'm taller. And then that's what led me to classic physique. And honestly, I saw Chris Bumstead at the 2017 Mr. Olympia, and I stood next to him, and I'm like, I think I can do this. I looked at my babe. I looked at my wife. I'm like, babe, is he that much bigger than I am? And she's like, not really. I'm like, let's do it. So that's really what led me to it, and getting pictures next to the pros and seeing where I stand. Obviously, it's not stage presence, but you got to build the confidence in yourself to understand if you're going to win or not. That's how I got to classic.
For sure. I'm going to show something real quick for the people that are watching on YouTube. You should be able to see my screen here in a second. So we got two different looks right here. Talk a little bit about this, because the one on the right was the show you did in Germany, wasn't it? Or was that when you got your pro card?
I'm trying to remember. I'm horrible at this. No. So the one on the left is Germany, I believe.
Okay. And this was last year in
then
June.
The one on the right is Omaha Pro.
Okay.
So that was both in 2018.
Okay. And then you've been working with what is it, Cement Factory?
Yeah, AJ Sims.
AJ, yeah.
He got me ready for both those shows.
Nice. And so what's your philosophy behind your training? Are you higher volume? Are you?
Yeah, I would say more higher volume. I don't really have a very strict protocol I'm doing 15 reps, 20 reps, but I do tend to steer to higher rep range. I like to hit higher, like 15 to 20 reps in the lower body, and then sometimes I'll drop to 10 to 15 in the upper body. But I play with it all over the place. It's just to move weight at the size that I am, to move the amount of weight that needs to be moved for 4 to 6 to 8 reps. It's just stupid. It gets to the point where I feel like it's doing more damage to my joints than I am benefiting from it. Like there's one point in period of time, like during prep and stuff like that I'm squatting almost like 600 pounds for 12 to 15 reps. And it's just, you stop and you look and you're just like, wait a minute, I need to look at other ways that I can fatigue my body without just destroying my joints. I'm 33, but my joints are feeling it. Racing dirt bikes, racing cars. I've done a lot of high impact sports that, if I want to play with my son, I'm gonna have to think about that long term by far. And I know Neil's feeling it too.
I'm much older than you, and yeah, I'm definitely feeling it. But I totally agree. I had to change my training over the years, and I lean towards more the higher volume. Same path. You go lower body, 15 to 20. Upper body is going to be definitely 12 to 15. I have to find better ways, safer ways, versus trying to just force myself to push heavy weight, or I wouldn't be able to do this today.
Mm-hmm.
I made those changes years and years ago.
Well, look at the legends of the sport. The ones that are still in the game didn't do that. They did it to a point, and then once they noticed that their body is starting to not respond from it, they pull back from it instead of just saying, you know what, more, and then they're out. Not everybody can uptake that. Jake Cutler, Dexter Jackson, those guys stand out right off the top of my mind that they always preached higher reps, time under tension, fatiguing the muscle tissue, not just destroying a bunch of weight on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I loved, listening to Lee Haney about. He barely even went over 315 on the bench, even 315 on the squat. He just used pre-fatiguing and just utilized that as his max weight. And he was like, I still got great results in it. And it showed. It can be done that way.
Yep. 100%. And I know that you've grown the last couple of years, and what have you been changing? So
it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my question to you is, you're a fellow pro classic physique guy. What is some things that, I know I have some hangups with classic, but what are some things that you would like to personally see change in classic?
There's nothing that stands out top of my mind. It's just the progression. I want them to control it. That's the big thing, because how many years has classic been out? What, 4, 3?
4, 4 or 5.
4 years. And each year they've increased the weight.
Mm-hmm.
I understand they're trying to get the feel for, each physique looking good at certain weights because they got to cap it. But they're already talking about raising it again.
Yeah.
So what happened to female bodybuilding? If they keep going to the direction of just bigger, they're going to go, it's just going to be a smaller bodybuilder. That's all it is. If not, it may take over, and then you just got bodybuilding again. It's just slightly modified, just different posing. I guess that's the only thing that can really stick to my mind. But you see it happening. You see people that don't necessarily have that classic look that is placing high, big. First thing I say is big waist. That's the whole reason classic physique was introduced, was because the size of these guys, their waists were just getting big because they were that big. Yeah. So they came out with classic physique. But you will see, even you can go back to the lower level pro shows, you will see the guys up there placing top 5, and you'll get the first place guy that's shaped like perfect, and then third place guy looks like a block.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make much sense, but again, this is bodybuilding, and the judges are going to be very attracted to those larger guys. Yeah. That's the only thing I can think of that stands out, that I just want them to control it just as much as they can. And how they control it is looking at conditioning and placing guys that fit that conditioning and that shape, and not so much just being big.
And see, I asked that because my hang up is, I feel that we need to have all mandatory poses, just like bodybuilding. Because I think by not having those, extra 3 poses, I think a guy who could be lacking in one area could be closing the door with, those selective other 3 poses. So I feel that all those poses should be implemented, in classic versus, just having, 4 or 5 in the classic pose. I think all the poses should be implemented.
I can see it happening easily. Like I said, it is a smaller bodybuilder. Yeah. It's just they're going to have prettier lines, and that posing period is something they need to lock down.
Mm-hmm.
Like at amateur level, you will see people sticking to mandatory poses better than the pro level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at the pro stage and look at transitions. Like, these guys completely relax to the point where their chest is folded down, their stomach's out. There's no control. So posing period, I've seen YouTube videos and stuff of some of the main judges talking about, hey guys, you're pro. Like, you shouldn't be huffing and puffing on stage. Like, you need to start practicing. But I can see classic easily bringing it in. Like, was it back lat spread?
Yeah.
What other one that they don't have? They have 2 other ones that's not in there, right?
Side tricep and front lat spread.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The side tricep, I think, is by far classic pose.
Yeah.
But since one of the classic physique poses, that's one of the classic physique pose, you can do a side tricep. That's my most favorite shot.
Yeah.
I always hit side tricep on the classic physique side. So
I just love it. I would love it if it's in comparisons. I mean, I can do it in my routine, but I need to be able to hit that, because that's a strong shot for me. Standing next to some guys, I think I really can showcase myself and stand out amongst the rest versus just in my routine.
Yep.
I mean, you can sneak it in, somewhat when we're doing those, but it's not a mandatory, so they're not really looking for it.
No, you're just creating attention just so you can keep their eye. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it happening, man. As long as they control people's weight, that's
Yep.
like I've seen some stuff happen backstage that on the scale that never goes too well. But
Oh boy, I don't.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's the name of the game, and you got to play the game if you want to be up there. You know, at the end of the day, my first pro show, that everything went wrong when it came to check-ins, and yeah, it wasn't the best experience, but it got it out of the way. So when I hit my second show, it was a cakewalk. I wasn't nervous. I knew where I needed to be, what to be. I guess I was just expecting a lot more as a pro, but you find out real quick it's not too much different, and then you move from there. Yeah.
And that's a tie-in for a question that I was just getting ready to ask you, because I know we had talked about this. I think it was right before your Germany show. Now that you're IFBB Pro, what does the level of competition look like? What do the shows look like? Because at the amateur level, almost every show carries classic physique, men's bodybuilding. They pretty much run everything. And I know you and I were talking. You found that you have to travel quite a bit more to be able to compete. So not only does the cost go up, the level of competition goes up. You want to talk to that a little bit? Because I know a lot of people that I'll meet with them or talk to them, and they have this expectation where they just want to go pro as fast as they can. And it's almost like they don't care about the process. They just want to go pro. And the part that always just gets me, and I'm going to let you answer, but it's just crazy to me. Like, people think they can come to bodybuilding and just pick it up and go pro. Whereas you would never find somebody that's never touched a basketball in their life come up to a coach, say, hey, teach me how to play basketball. And by the way, I want to be in the NBA next year. But for some reason, they think that they can walk into a gym and then 8, 9, 12 months later, stand next to, Terrence Ruffin on the Olympia stage. So what have you seen the biggest differences in becoming a pro from being a local level competitor?
First thing comes to mind is just take anything at local level and times it by 50. It's basically the same when it comes to backstage, but every guy that you're competing against, it's not their first rodeo. They know how to get things popping when they need to be popping. They know how to start engaging stuff when things need to start engaging. My first in Omaha, I was backstage looking around. They had 2 different rooms. They had the pro room and then they had the amateur room. I didn't know. I was in the amateur room the whole time. But I was like, man, these guys aren't very big. Okay, where's all the pros at? But I finally found them. I walked through though, and I was like, man, really? Like, these guys don't look like they should. Like, I'm looking at me and I'm 2 pumps away of stepping on stage, but I'm looking around and I'm just like, these guys don't look that good. And then pump up time came around, and things change real quick. And what I tell people, I go, you're not getting on stage with amateurs anymore. People that are kind of not misguided, but really relying on other people. You're getting on stage with people that are confident. I compare it to people, like, if you took a handful of diamonds and you just threw it on stage, and the judges are just trying to pick the best diamond, because every pro on stage at any NPC level, they're gonna kill it. Like, they're gonna blow the doors up when it comes to conditioning and preparation and mindset. So yeah, it's a big difference when it comes to the competitor side of everything. You kind of tapped into, like, a lot of people thinking like they could just jump into being pro. Why is that? I don't know. Did I think that? Not really. I'm the first person that will always say, like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna. That's not gonna be me. Out loud, that's what I do in my head. I'm like, I'm gonna I'm going to keep pushing and seeing what I can achieve. But I had a conversation with some local kids that you see great potential in them. And I'll go over to them and I'll be like, enjoy it. Like, enjoy the NPC. Not that the IFBB league sucks. It doesn't suck. But just enjoy the time that you're in the NPC, because once you're gone, there's no going back. Mm-hmm. And local shows, like NPC local shows and stuff, there is a different feel backstage. It feels like I had more fun backstage as a NPC competitor that I had been as a pro. Granted, I've only done 2 pro shows, but at NPC level, like, you can really chit chat and talk up to anybody. But pro level, like, there is a slight suspense, you know. When I did USA's in 2018, when I turned pro, that was one thing about backstage. It wasn't comfortable at all. Like, I felt like I was in a room of guys getting ready to get on stage to fight a UFC fight. Like, we had guys in the corner, you know, working out, pumping out. The guy that actually got the overall of that show, he didn't step out of the corner. Like, that's where he was the whole time. And then you had me in the other corner with my fan, because I'm Oregonian and I can't do hot weather. And I'm just trying to keep my temperature down, but I'm just looking around like, who can I talk to? Everyone just looks like they're mad. Mm-hmm. And yes, you're depleted, and yes, like, you're low on energy and your nerves are up. But, like, if you've ever seen me backstage when I was doing shows, like, before I turned pro, like, I'm having fun. Like, I'm trying to absorb as much as I can, because you're on stage how long? 5 minutes? Well, pros, you tend to get a little bit more stage time, but at NPC level, you're on stage for 5 or 6 minutes. That's it. Mm-hmm. And then it's gone. So I tell the local guys, I'm like, just don't rush it, because once you get through the NPC, guess what? You're back at the bottom, unless you got a lot of light on you, a lot of light. And that light does cost money, you know.
For sure.
So,
no, that's all good points. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just enjoying the process right now. So working with AJ, one question I was going to ask you about was the saturation days. I know some of the other guys that he works with, they post it just looks like it's a crazy amount of carbs, high refeed. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I've worked with probably like 4 different coaches in the IFBB Pro rankings. And I went with AJ because he will basically pull everything he has to pull to get to a certain, like, artificial sweeteners. Like, you will have to suffer to get to a point if you work with AJ, but he will get you there. And that's why he's he's not known for bringing the biggest guy on stage. Let's be honest about it. Right. But he'll be his whole model, fat free. He will bring people just shredded. Mm-hmm. And he will always, in my opinion, he will always run run the risk of being a little bit flat for conditioning any day. Right. But working with them and stuff, that saturation days, I don't think all his athletes do it. I think it's a smaller amount, because not everybody can do it.
Right.
My body loves carbs. I can eat carbs all day, every day, nonstop, and it's not going to do too much to me. So my saturation days were stupid. Like, we were in, you know, my saturation days were easy over 1,000 grams of carbs to 1,500 grams of carbs. And then you shut it back down. You go back to mine were like 500 to 600 grams of carbs on a daily basis. Wow. So, but he manipulates food and kind of cycles it to make the food work to burn the fat, instead of just making you do a ton of cardio. Mm-hmm. And all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I've given him a hard time, because I was one of the athletes that never got the carrot cake technology. So I would get in show stuff. He's like, all right, I need you to go to the store and get this and this and that. And I go through the store, I take a picture of some carrot cake. I'm like, do I ever get this special technology or what? Or do I just not qualify for it? I got it one time, find out I don't like carrot cake. So,
oh man, you're talking to 2 carrot cake fiends right now.
I don't like nuts and cakes.
Okay. So what's your go-to then?
When we carb loaded and stuff like that, we would never use anything really outside of what we did on like saturation days, but we do like cookies or that kind of stuff. I tend to do pretty good with cookies. The baby rice cereal is a big one that or cream of rice, should I say. Cream of rice is a big one that he likes to use. And my body did pretty well with that too. But muffins, that's a common one too. You see that everywhere now because of technician. You know. But yeah, I think carrot cake is just one of those things that I think he just picked it up one day and was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have guys eat carrot cake. So, I like to use cereal, so I have all my guys use cereal. So
cereal's good.
But I was one of the unfortunate ones that did not get that trick.
So I got a. We're gonna go back to the beard for a second.
Let's take it there.
So at nighttime, do your beard ever get caught on your arm, rolled around? You know, do you get tangled in it sometimes? You know, tell us some stories. I know you have to have a few stories, or do you wrap it up?
Just get wrapped up in the beard at night.
I braid it tight.
Okay.
So it's basically out of the way, but it's like you can. It's long, so everybody can kind of tell how long it is. It goes down to my waist. Now you get like getting out of the truck, you'll sit on it. It gets inconvenient now by far. Yeah. You got to be careful. I do a lot of handyman work, so saws and you know, you got your stove. Anybody got a gas stove? Well, guess what? Yeah. So you get used to it like anything. At night, it doesn't bug me anymore at all, but some nights you would try to roll over and you'd feel it tug because it's under your shoulder. Yeah. But it's just like a chick with hair. You know, they just braid it nice and tight and just throw it on their shoulder. Yeah. Because it will sit basically back there if you throw it. So, But yeah, it is getting to the point. There's some days that I think, you know what, it's time. I'm just gonna take it off. And then you step back and you realize your face is not that attractive. So just leave the beard on.
I feel like it always just makes chins look little. Like I'll shave. I don't have much, but when I grow it out a little bit, like in the winter, I'll shave. I'm like, damn, my chin's tiny. I need to grow this back.
Oh, dude, yeah. What's cool too is I've always been quiet about my preps for the most part. I try to be a little bit louder on my last pro prep, but nobody knows when you're prepping. Well, in my case, because I have a saying, I say cover up, buttercup, because I believe people just need to stay covered up while they're working in the gym for just temperature, blood circulation, that kind of stuff. But so they just never know. Yeah. And then the last week, they will kind of see my cheekbones come in a little bit right here, but that's it. And so it kind of hides that double chin and it kind of hides that diet face.
The diet face, yeah. Awesome. Well, I got a list of questions that came through from Instagram. First one is from my guy, Brennan Andre. We've been actually working with the same coach lately, so shout out to Brennan. He wants to know, how many years did it take to grow the beard, and what are your tips for growing such a healthy beard?
It's been 6 years since I shaved it off. It wasn't barefaced. It was basically probably a month's worth of growth, probably half an inch. So it's been 6 years since I've completely shaved it off. Well, to grow a healthy one, it's all about just keeping it hydrated. Look at what your chick does to her hair. You know, that's basically your beard hair is going to be a lot more coarse, so it can take in a lot more oils and stuff like that. But just treating it, washing it, you know, once, twice a week, conditioning it all the time, use beard milk. But yeah, use a beard oil if you can. Beard oils will keep it from tangling, split ends, all that kind of stuff too. Try to get yourself a good one that actually hydrates the hair instead of just sits on top of the hair. When it comes to growing them long, it's genetics. You can get the little hole things that basically it's like a puncture thing. It's supposed to puncture your cheek and allow the hair to grow through and stuff. But some people can grow the chin. You know, they get that chin strap going. Some people can grow the full face. When I first started growing, it was just the lower half. And then I started trimming the lower half and letting the upper half catch up. And then it finally did. And then now it's pretty even. But I honestly, I always say it's kind of like calves. You got them or you don't.
There you go. It's genetics. All right. Next one is, okay. We see stories all the time about baby cereal. What's with that?
So I started eating baby rice cereal because AJ had cream of rice on there, and I didn't like anybody cook cream of rice. It kind of sucks. Mm-hmm. It goes from amazing to brick in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So I asked him if it's cool if I just use baby rice cereal, and he was like, yeah. And then I started looking more into it, and I like it, and I utilize it in my clients because it's easy for the body to digest. There's literal to zero inflammation that's caused from it, so you're getting more absorption from it. It's on the go mixability is amazing. You throw egg whites in there and just boom, boom, and eat it. There's no cooking, no microwave. So hotels, traveling makes it a cakewalk. I'm a convenient cooker. Like I turn the stove up hot, throw my food on there, pull it off. Like I don't do fancy. I'm not a chef. So when it comes to the baby rice cereal, it just fit everything. And I noticed working with more topper end trainers, you don't see them using a lot of super complex carbs. You're eating frequently, so your glucose levels are going to be able to stabilize as long as you're eating frequently. Those carbohydrates are not going to spike your insulin like they would if someone was eating every 8 hours. So I'm all about absorption. Absorption is key, and that's where the baby rice cereal comes in. Call it baby gains.
Yeah, baby gains. Hashtag baby gains. That's one of my favorite things to eat if I have an hour or less before I got to go lift is I'm putting down egg whites and baby cereal.
I think I remember you coming over the dark side because you asked me about it.
Yeah. I was asking you about it, and then you were telling me about it.
Like, just do it. Just try it. Yeah.
And I did, and I will never go back. I will never go back to cream of rice.
It's all about the stomach, guys. If you're bloated and you're gassy, something's not working.
Yep.
Like, and when it comes to when you're at a certain level, I always tell people our bodies have a waste system. Just because you eat it doesn't mean you're absorbing it.
Exactly.
So if there's more inflammation, more gas going on, what's going to happen? The machine's going to dump it out.
Yep.
So if you can eat something and you feel good afterwards, one, you're going to be able to eat sooner. So that's going to allow you to get more calories in if you need it. Two, it's going to absorb better. So.
For sure.
And that's probably why you're stuck with it.
Very much so. We had a couple other questions, but a lot of them got answered just through the chat that we've had. Anything else that you got?
No, he answered everything.
Awesome. Well, hey.
I got an answer for a question for you guys.
Yeah.
More Neil, when's the next show?
Ooh, 21.
21, yeah.
Probably towards the end of summer, fall 21.
Was the last show you did Tampa Pro? Was that the one?
No, my last show I did was the Legion show.
The Ferrigno, right?
Oh, that was 217.
17, okay.
So I did the show
Legion.
218, the first Legion show out in Long Beach.
Nice. Good. You've cracked that top 10 yet?
That show I did.
Nice. Good.
Yeah.
Nice. That's the goal.
Yeah. I'm shooting for 21. I started working with Skip Hill, new coach, so excited to see what happens with that. Just kind of feeling each other out right now, doing some off-season work, and then I think we're going to go at it hard here in the next month or two, and then looking at doing something next spring. So what about you?
Yeah, 2020 was an off year anyways. It just happened to be it's everybody's off year now.
Right.
I have yet to have a good off season, but I'm working into it now. But 2021 is, I want to say I'm done, but I'm not. I still have fuel in the tank, and I still got more to come up. So it's just trying to bring a package that the judges will like. I gotta I got something that works against me that I got to bring something bigger to distract them. So it's in the process. So 2021 should be a good year though.
For sure. Awesome. We'll tell the people where they can find you, where they can find Kamikaze, Beard Melt, different ways to get a hold of you. I'll make sure to put all of it in the show notes as well. I'll make sure to link everything. But let people know where they can find Kamikaze, if they want to get a hold of you for training, all that good stuff. Where do they go?
Yeah. So Jerry Braswell, IFBB Pro. You can find me on beard.milk on Instagram. Facebook, it's just Jerry Braswell. Kamikaze Sports Nutrition on Instagram and Facebook is my sports nutrition store. So, yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you very much, Jerry. I appreciate
you taking the time. Having me. I'll see you around.
All right. Take care.
Later.
Later. All right, guys. Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Like, subscribe, make sure you continue to follow us, and we will see you next time.